Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigos? Now, I just think of one day I'm going to start speaking Spanish and it's just going to all come out. I'm going to get it all. But how do you say vocabulario? Vocabulario es muy pequeño. See? Sí. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Welcome to another Intent Company Live. This is Billy Robbins. We're having fun up in here in the Intent HQ. It is Thursday, February 29th. We are on day 34. 34. That means tomorrow, 35, which is half of 70, but not quite half of 75, which is what we're doing. 75 lives, kicking inconsistency in the teeth by making lots of content. What are you guys doing? We talked weeks ago about consistency and goals and all that stuff. What awesome, grand things did you write down that you're going to do every day for a long period of time? Where are you at with those? No shame. Just get back on the horse. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do hard things. I've been talking to my son about that a lot this week. Doing hard things. Something good about doing hard stuff. Do hard stuff. All right. Well, that was a real random rant intro. It had nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about today. Because what we're going to talk about today is a concept that we teach a lot over here at Intent Company called value and need. And I would say that, and I'll get into the details in just a second, but the essence of business, the essence of marketing, the essence of what we do is basically that you have a unique value as a business that you provide to the world, and there are the people who need it most. And when those two things come together, your unique value or brand intent and the people who need it most, customer intent, when there's a match there, then you have a great opportunity to deliver an amazing customer experience. Now, yesterday we talked about storytelling. We're going to do a workshop on storytelling. And really, this content in the middle is like super needed and valuable to bridge those two concepts. Because if we're going to make a story, if we're going to do storytelling, if we're going to do any of that stuff, we better have a really clear idea of what story are we telling? Who are we? Who do we serve? What problems do we solve? So we're going to go through all of that. This is basically like a crash course in brand positioning, customer personas. It's a good little crash course. So we're going to get into some really cool stuff today. So get your notebooks out. You want to take lots of notes. And I forgot to remind me to sync up these monitors. That's right. Sync up the monitors. I keep forgetting to put our slides up there. So we're going to do that behind the scenes right now. So again, this is our great tool that we use called Streamlabs. You should totally check it out. It's awesome. Let me grab my other monitor here and put it back over there. Boom. Now we're in business. This is what you do when you go live every day. This is the tech world. This is the live tech world. You love it. So here we go. 75 lives, 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Head over to intentcompany.com/live. You get access to all of our cool stuff, like our Focus and Fire workshop, which we're selling for like $200, and then turning around and giving all of that money to the Feed the Hungry program, a great charity. We also recommend you go and check us out on all the different social media channels, which is all at Intent Company. We also have our customer journey assessment, our Intent Company group, which is a free community with a bunch of free trainings, tools, an app, all kinds of good stuff, and our WOW campaign blueprint. So if you got customers, check out our WOW campaign blueprint. Advocacy marketing is the way to go, and it's what we're all about over here. So, let's do this. So actually, you guys can help me out. Why don't you help me get the word out? Why don't you help me do the likes, the clicks, the comments, the subscribes, the bells?
Hey guys, welcome back. And make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and make sure to hit that bell for notifications.
And thank you very much, Braden. And help us out with the algorithms. We thank you. Not that it was a huge network, but I think our YouTube subscriptions have like doubled since we started doing this. That's cool. So, help us out. Subscribe, check it out, get more content. We're going to be going for another, 30 days? So we got another 45 days. We're going, right, today's 34. Hold on, I can do math. 35, 36, 41 days. Did I do that right? Yeah, 41 days. Don't worry, this is not a math channel. You don't have to worry about our math. 41. 41.
Confirmed.
41. Gosh. Jeej, what do I do without you? I need you in my life. Help me. Help me. Help me, Jeej.
Value and need.
Value and need. I need her value. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Let me pull this up in a little bigger screen here. Let's do this one. How about that? Yeah, let's do that one. And we'll pull it down a little bit. All right, because I want to make sure we get all the content for you, even though I'm totally in your way over here. There we go. Kind of out of the way. Value and need. Clearly defining who you are and what problem you solve and who you solve it for. We'll do this one instead. How about that? All right. So again, we were going to go through we're going to go through basically a customer persona brand positioning workshop. And this is like super important for any type of content that you're going to be developing. You really need to know any marketing. Actually, really, this will be a great tool to actually build out your own kind of customer journey map. Like you can literally come up with your strategy for how you're going to do marketing off of this, your content strategy. It all really births out of this value to need continuum, right? So clearly define who you are, what problem you solve, who you solve it for. Okay, so let's dig in. So I like to start with this story. Oh, I missed Mr. Snake's head. Here, let's fix that for you. Yes, you're welcome. You didn't know what you're going to get in? You're getting a cobra. Okay, so I used to always tell this story. This is pretty cool. So, trust me, there's a point to this. There's a point, I'm telling you. So, this king cobra represents a story back in the 1800s when Britain was occupying India. There was a problem, right? So if you know your history, right? England came, tried to occupy, take over India. And during that occupation, they got all their soldiers, they're setting up everything, and they were freaking out because these guys here were like crawling all over the place, right? So they didn't know, they'd never seen a cobra, they didn't know what to do with it, so they freaked out. So, I assume they got together all these leaders and military people and like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get rid of these crazy things? And so one guy's like, I don't know. Why don't we just pay the locals? Why don't we just pay the locals to kill them since they're not as afraid of them as we are? And we'll take the skins and we'll pay them per each skin. We'll just kind of pay them to get rid of it. And they're like, yeah, great idea. So they go and they do this program. They tell all the locals, all the Indians, like, hey, bring us these skins and we'll pay you. So they do it. And then what do the industrious people of India do? Well, they start breeding these cobras because now they're getting paid for it. So they start putting them together and making more cobras. And then the people in the leaders who are paying for them say, I'm not going to pay you for these things that you're breeding. We're trying to get rid of them, not have you breed more. So they stopped paying the Indians. So what did the Indians do with all their breeding grounds and all the different snakes that they had bred? They just released them into the wild. So there ended up being more of the problem that they didn't want they started. Now, why do I tell that story? Because that can actually feel a lot like marketing in general. That can feel a lot like what we do, right? We kind of think, well, I need to grow. What do I do? And you're like, oh, well, I'll do this, or let's do the Instagram thing, or the Twitter thing, or this thing. And it's just like kind of this random idea. And that random idea doesn't work. So then you're like, oh man, that Insta stuff, that never works. And you throw it away. And what do? You just kind of pick another idea. Well, what is the problem with that? Well, the reason is, it's just like the occupiers in India. Most marketing strategies today are not actually strategies. They're just random ideas that we pull out. And here's the problem. If you pay attention to any kind of social media, business growth, online marketing, what have you, you're constantly getting thrown ideas. You're constantly getting thrown, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And really, I call that process the shiny new toy syndrome. Right? And so you may know if you're affected with the shiny new toy syndrome because these things may be happening in your business. You might have a lot of things going on, but you don't know what's working. and you don't know what is working. You have no visibility into what's happening, right? Oftentimes you'll start something new, like you get all excited, like, oh, we're totally going to do the challenges thing. The challenges is it, this is that. And you start it, you get excited about it, and then it just fizzles and it never gets completed. Or maybe you do a little soft launch or a single launch, you don't get the results you want. What do? You scrap the idea, right? Maybe you have a bunch of different things happening, right? You got all kinds of activities, you got your hands in all these different places, but they just don't seem to complement each other, right? Nothing is cohesive. It's just kind of random activity, siloed activity all over the place. And also, any results that you're getting seem to be directly tied to buying more traffic rather than actually like a holistic growth approach from organic media and reorders and advocacy type stuff. So, have you ever noticed any of these things in your business? Most of us have. And so I say that you may have the shiny toy syndrome. So what does that mean? What it means is that we are confusing strategies and tactics. I was actually chatting with somebody on our team just about this a couple days ago, where it's so often that you do a search for strategies and all you do is get a list of marketing tools or the newest, marketing tactic, or just it's like a random activity, and that random activity is not a strategy, right? Strategy is a comprehensive concept, an idea, and we often don't know how to create a strategy. So what we do, we just do a bunch of different tactics, and we're not sure what works. Some things stick, some things don't. We move on, and so we need a strategy, right? And so really, your strategies actually need to dictate what tactics you're using. Right? You need to actually have strategy dictating tactics instead of just randomly doing tactics. Okay, so let me just give you some examples of how this works. Okay, so we have to have a philosophy, an overarching idea, an overarching belief about how business, how marketing works in order to understand which tactics we need to focus on and which ones we're not going to focus on. And so I'm going to start with a few ideas that I want you to think about, and then think about now maybe some of the things that you've worked on in the past that didn't work, and think, oh, did this even fit into this framework, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is this idea that we call it redefining SP. Well, what does that mean? Well, I think that most companies think what they're doing is they're selling their products, right, or services, whatever. That's what you're there to do. The purpose of my business is to sell my products. But that's not it at all, right? Because actually, nobody really cares about your product or service. They just don't. And you might be like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm not saying you particularly. Like, pretty much most things that get purchased, nobody actually cares about the particular thing that they're buying or their service that they're buying, right? The truth is that people are actually delighted. People are actually going after getting their problem solved. And if your product or your service happens to solve that problem, then great. They have an affinity. They like the product that you offer, but it's not because of the product specifically. It's because of what the product and service gives them. So really, our focus has to be about serving people and solving problems, right? If you hear me talk about that constantly. But you got to think about that. Think about all the marketing that you've done in the past. Think about all the activities you got going on right now. Think about the different campaign, the this and that. Is the essence of that campaign to serve a particular people group? Is it to solve a particular problem? Or are you just trying to throw your face and your image in front of enough people so somebody hopefully clicks and buys? Right? Unfortunately, most marketing that we see today, most campaigns we see today are the latter. Okay. So the first thing, and we talk about this all the time, the customer journey, right? We have to think in terms of somebody has a problem. Let me get my laser pointer here, right? So we've got somebody with a problem. They have a particular need. They have a particular need, a certain problem that needs to be solved, and they're on a journey. They're on a journey to solve that problem. And as I talked about in the storytelling content, you are not the hero of your story. Your customer is. They are. They're the ones that are trying to traverse the lands, overcoming obstacles, dealing with situations so that they can be the hero of their story. They can go throw the ring in Mount Doom, to use our good old Gandalf and Lord of the Rings analogy, right? So what's your role? Well, you are the Gandalf. You're the mentor. You're the individual that is going to, your business is, and your marketing needs to be the tool that helps them become aware and helps them make the decision, helps them create affinity, helps them take action, and ultimately helps them become an advocate. So you're equipping them with ideas and thoughts and tools and strategies and things that they didn't have, so they're equipped to go and take the action that they want. And when you take this approach, this customer journey approach, when you truly realize that your goal as a mentor is leading and equipping your best customers to their desired end and not you trying to shove products and services down their throat, all of a sudden marketing becomes way more effective. And it almost seems contrary, but it's actually like people know when you're just trying to slam products down their throat, and it repels them. You actually are repelling certain people. This right here will actually draw and attract your best customer. Okay. So as I've said many times before, the goal of all marketing, goal of all business should be to develop and reproduce these brand advocates. Okay. So those are some ideas that I want you to hold on to as we dig into, basically, we're going to do a value and need workshop. Okay, this is a value and need workshop. Your unique value provided to the world, the people who need it most. Okay, so if you think about it, you really define what you're valuable at, what value you're providing to the marketplace, and then you define the people who need it most. And really, yeah, you might get some sales over here, but the advocacy, the core users are going to be found at the intersection of value and need. When what you're all about, who you are, and the value that you provide to the world matches up so closely with the people that need it, that's when you have those amazing customers and those amazing marketing relationships, okay? So let's talk about value first. And another term for value could be brand intent. All right. A great way to share kind of, or to establish your brand intent is by using Simon Sinek's The Golden Circle. Okay, so I'm using this content. I'm a paid whatever it called to use this content. So I'm not stealing his content. We're in a contractual relationship to share this stuff. So, but the Golden Circle is fantastic. It really is a great way to think about in getting past some of the surface level reasons why you do your business, or what you do for your business, and getting to the why. So if you haven't watched, there's a TED Talk that's amazing, and there's a book. They're amazing. But really, I can get you 90% of what this is all about in a few slides, okay? So if we think about this, why, how, what? Most marketing, do this. Go on Facebook, go on Instagram, look at ads, and really what you're going to see from companies is this what? What do we do? They're just going to talk about their product, what they do, and they're not going to talk about these other aspects. But really, most purchase decisions actually happen in the why, not the what. And so, products that are sold, services that are offered, the role that you're doing, this is like what you do, right? So we could use the example of, let me just use an example. So actually, I'll use an example of a client we were working with recently. They provide these amazing, basically fake rock walls, and they're super cool, and they're super creative, and they're amazing products. But if you sat there and just said, "Oh, what do? They make fake rock walls." Okay, well, that's what they do, right? So then you got to think about the how. Well, how do they do it, right? Well, they have like these amazing processes where they use like these custom molds. They're super artistic. They're like foam and super lightweight, so they're easy to put up on the wall, right? So that's the how. So, there could be many different products that are similar to what they do, but very few that do it how they do it. And it really is all based off of their strengths and their values and their guiding principles. The company's called Universal Rocks, by the way. They're amazing. Go check them out. Buy their stuff. And so they have unique strengths. What are the unique strengths? Well, like the founder of the company is like this artist. Like it's amazing the things he makes. He makes these custom molds that nobody else can make, and they're beautiful and they're unreal. And the products that the materials that they use are unlike anyone else. And they just got this really cool kind of way that they construct it. And so that's their how. All right. So what do they make? How do they do it? But then more importantly, their why, your purpose or your belief. And so for them, their why is to create amazing environments and atmospheres for people to feel like they're in nature when they're in their home or just in their backyard. There's a why about helping people to unwind and relax and to connect with nature and create a place that's peace and elegant and sophisticated and just, this little, sanctuary that they get to go away to kind of unwind. And think about it. Isn't that why somebody would really buy it? Again, nobody's buying what you actually sell. Like there's a core reason, but for most companies, they're not even sharing that why, even though that's the reason why most people are going to connect, right? Most companies start out here in the what, but we need to start with the why first and then go out. So there's even like some scientific data that Simon Sinek talks a lot about. He talks about how our brain is kind of, we got different aspects of our brain. He talks about the limbic brain and the neocortex. So the neocortex is really that area that we, process facts and those kind of things, where the limbic brain is really more about how we feel. And if you think about it, people make decisions based on how they feel. People make decisions based on desires and emotions, and then they justify it with facts. That's all the time. I don't care how analytical someone is, it's still done that way, right? So yeah, there's some things. We're responsible for language, rational thought, limbic's about decision-making, feelings, things like that. So the limbic system is really about the heart. People's buying decisions is heart-driven, and then they create logic to justify their decisions. And that, again, I don't care how analytic a person is, it still works that way. We have an emotional response that we then create logical reasons why we do it. Okay? So if we're starting out here with the what, we're starting with the facts, the knowledge. It's not going to be as effective as if we start with the emotional side, the why people do what they do and go out. So here's a quick exercise. What products do you sell? What are they? What are your products and services? Just write it down. What are they? What do you do in a real matter-of-fact way, right? Then I want you to write down, what are your unique strengths, values, guiding principles, right? So like, just to use another example, like us, like what do? We sell automated marketing systems. Well, what's your unique strengths and values and guiding principles? Well, we're purpose-driven. We believe in advocacy marketing. We believe that companies should serve people and they should solve problems. And so that's a unique way we build all of our systems. Well, why? Why? Because we're passionate about entrepreneurs. We're passionate about small businesses. We're passionate about seeing entrepreneurship thrive. And we believe that this product that we have is actually the easiest and fastest way for small businesses to grow by maximizing the relationship with their current customers. We actually have a passion to see companies thrive and excel and be able to compete with the big companies and the tech companies and all the different stuff that's coming out there. So we have a core belief of wanting to see small businesses thrive. So that's an example of our what, how, and why. All right, so what about yours? All right, next exercise. What about Bob? So when we talk about Bob, Bob's an acronym. If you've seen the movie, What About Bob's great. We love What About Bob. So thinking back to this, we believe the lie that we're selling products, right? So if you think about it, nobody actually buys the products that you sell. They're actually buying the benefit of the products you sell. And actually, I would say they're buying the benefit of the benefit, maybe of the benefit of the benefit that you sell. So I use this example all the time. Nobody buys a light bulb, even though I don't even think you can get these filament light bulbs anymore. But the idea is a light bulb. Nobody cares about a light bulb. Nobody's like, oh, I want to get a light bulb. I love my light bulbs. My light bulbs are great. All right, I got all kinds of these expensive light bulbs all around me right now. And do I care about the light bulb? No. What do I care about? Do I care about the lifespan and the wattage and the usage? No. But this is literally a screenshot from a very major retailer that you can probably assume what it is by the color of the underline. Massive company that's giving you these factual components. But does that really mean anything to you? Does that really resonate? Does that really touch your why? No. because people don't really care about buying the product. What they care about is light. And I would even say, like, do you even really care about light? Like, sure, I want light in this room right now, but like, I need light? What kind of light do I need? Why do I want the light? No, it's what it gives me, right? So in this example, you might not care about the light bulb, the light. What are you trying to do? You're trying to read your kids a bedtime story. In fact, the kind of light that you sell should vary based on creating an atmosphere where that is a soothing atmosphere. Does she want to have a super bright daytime light, fluorescent light in her kids' room to read her kids' story? No. Why? Because it's harsh. It keep her kids up. It's like bright and all this stuff. Like that would be the wrong environment. So she's not even buying that. She's buying the atmosphere it creates, where it's probably like a warmer light. It's probably dimmer. It's probably soothing. It's probably a great place to feel comfortable, want to go to sleep, right? Where likewise, alternate to that, in my studio right here, I got these big blasting lights and I want them cooler and I want them bright. Why? Because I want to create an image that looks sharp for the video. But do I even want that? No, I want to create a video that creates impact. Is that even what I want? No, I want to touch businesses and move them so that they're inspired to take action and, join up with us and build something. And why do I want to do that? Because I want the business to grow. Why that? Because I want to have a bunch of employees and give them a great, opportunity. And you just keep going the benefit of the benefit of the benefit. And you can keep going down. And we kept asking those questions. Why would it end up that? There's core reasons like, I want to give my family the best life they possibly can have. I want my son to have opportunities that I never had. I want him to go and change the world, and I want my family to be able to go wherever we want. There's like these core reasons why you make the decisions that you make. But when we're marketing and we're selling, we talk about the product. It's glass. It's got a filament. It'll last for 12 years. And it doesn't move anyone. Because we're not talking about Bob. We're not talking about the benefit of the benefit of the benefit. So we got to dig in, okay? So I hope that resonates with you. So right now, another quick workshop, benefit of the benefit. Okay, so go back to your what, right? What do you offer? As you can see, this is very similar to start with why. What do you offer? What is the benefit or benefits that this provides? So again, I offer a light bulb. It gives me light. What benefits does the light provide? And just start to list all of those different things. And then keep going. Keep going until you run out of answers for what is the benefit of that. Whatever answer you put, just say, well, what's the benefit of light? What's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of that? And you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And when you can't come up with any more benefits, you know that you're getting to the the core underlying motivating factors why people buy your product. So let's dive into the need side. So that's a couple workshops that you can do to help you understand your value, the brand intent. Now I want to knock out some customer intent. Again, this is kind of a crash course in value and need. Need, customer intent. Unique value you provide to the world, people who need it most. All right. One of the most important skill sets that you can possess in understanding your customer, how to take care of them, how to sell products, how to serve is empathy. And I talk about this book all the time, Wired to Care by Dev Patnaik. It is an absolute fantastic book. And you need empathy. You need to take time to get to understand why your customer does what they do, what their needs are, and match that up. Now, if you don't have this information, there's lots of different things you can do. You could do focus groups. If it's possible, get 5 of your best customers on a Zoom call or in a room or somewhere and ask them questions. Hear what makes them tick. Ask them what they like most about working with you. I bet that they'll answer questions that you just didn't even. They'll answer. Their answers to your questions will be things you never even thought of. They're like, I didn't even know you like that about us. All right, but there's core underlying reasons, so you need to draw it out. How about surveys, assessments? There's all kinds of different ways that you can tap into your customer to get an idea of what makes them tick, what their needs are, what problems they're trying to solve. And so make sure that you're actively engaging in these things. Obviously, the more personal you can be, the better. So if you think about it, all needs fall into one of two categories. They're trying to gain pleasure or avoid pain. All right? They're trying to add a pleasure or to avoid some sort of pain. Okay? So that's going to be at the core. So the first thing we got to think about with our customer is, easy way to do it is demographic stuff. Okay? Now, demographics are things like facts about the person. What age are they? Where do they live? What kind of role do they have? Right? We have demographics around like what company sizes work best for us. Is it's a founder-led company versus, like there's certain factual type things. And it's a factual thing because you can say, yes, they fall into this category, they don't. Demographics, right? And oftentimes with personas, people spend too much time focusing on demographics and not enough time understanding psychographics. And so psychographics I think are even more important, which is basically, a psychographic is saying, what does that person believe to be true? What are they interested in the world? What do they think about the world? What moves them? What are they afraid of? What interests, attitudes, anything like that? Okay, so what's important to them? What do they enjoy? What's not acceptable? These types of things about who they are and how they think are going to be more impactful when we're communicating with our customers. Okay, so a quick snapshot. This is something that you could really think about with all of your customers. Okay, so now I'm writing this from the phrase of the customer. So if you get a chance to ask your customers this, that'd be great. But as a customer, you can do this. You could do this for yourself if you're in the market for something, just to kind of see how it draws out. But number one, what do I believe to be true? Think about that. I'm in marketing, right? We do marketing systems. I get on the phone with customers, and oftentimes the first thing that I've got to overcome is they believe that all marketing doesn't really work. Right? They've tried it a million times. Oh, I did it all. I did the Facebook. I did the SEO. I did the thing, and it just doesn't really work. That happens. Right? Or I believe, it's always expensive. It's a waste of time. Those are beliefs. You got to understand what beliefs they're there so you can help overcome them. Right? So what beliefs do your customers have and that pertain to your product offering? Next, what is my attitude like? So again, I'm thinking with the customer. Are they easy to work with? Are they hard to work with? Are they pessimistic? Are they optimistic? Are they full of joy? Are they full of frustration? Are they full of pain? Like, how is their attitude? Next question. What do I want? Then with that, what do I want? That's a big one. What things do I want in my life that I don't currently have right now? I want more profit. I want ease of use. I want to not worry about my bookkeeping. I want to create an amazing office that when you walk in, and it's just got this most amazing feel, and I'm inspired to work, and right? What do they want? And then the last question, what hurts me? What pain do I have? And people will pay more money to avoid a hurt than to gain a pleasure. That's the truth. And then as a marketer, you get a choice. You can either exploit that. You can fear monger, make people feel terrible, and then try to sell them stuff, which is what some companies do. But then you're kind of a dirtbag, and you got to live the rest of your life being a dirtbag. So don't do that. All right? They have real hurts, and yes, we help them understand those hurts, and we say we understand what your hurts are, and yes, we can even, as we do, we talk about our agitate, right? Kind of bring them that moment and be like, yeah, that really sucks when that happens and this happens. They're like, yeah, it does. You can't leave them there. You got to solve it. All right, so don't manufacture pain. Not a good way to do things. So we're getting back to this benefit of the benefit of the benefit, right? So they know their pain. They know their issues, what they want. You've got your benefit of the benefit of the benefit. All right? So the need, I need the kids to be able to sleep after this book. Pleasure, this is the only time I get to connect with my kids. Right? So that's the analogy for the light. Right? That's the core need. I need this to happen. This is the pleasure. This is the pain they were overcoming. Gosh, these kids need to go to sleep. If I had the fluorescent light, they wouldn't be going to sleep. All right, this is the only time I get to connect my kids. It's a desired pleasure. They like the time and want the experience, right? And both of those things could be true. This could be pleasure they're trying to gain and needs they're trying to satisfy, or pains they're trying to avoid at the same time. So think about how this all comes together now. You just had your benefit of the benefit. You see those kind of core underlying values that your product offers. Now, match that with what pleasure are you helping your best customers get? Like, how does this core benefit give them pleasure they're looking for and help them avoid or solve pain that they have? Think about that. If you've got this is where, again, it comes together. If you can't do this, if you really look at the core things that you offer, the real kind of benefit of the benefit, and you can't match that up with a real pleasure that the client's getting and a pain they're avoiding, you got some kind of mismatch. You got the wrong product, or you're the wrong person, or like you got the wrong thing. Right? So going back to our universal rocks analogy, right? So if they create these amazing atmospheres, they create these amazing environments where it just feels great. You just walk in and you're inspired, and it's just this awesome thing. I'm going to do my new office over with their products. It's amazing. So what pleasure am I getting? Like, I want to feel wowed when I walk into a room. You know that, like, when you kind of do up your room, you get the lighting just right, all this stuff. You're like, ooh, I'm ready to get it. I'm feeling creative. I want to have it. Right? What pain do you want to avoid, right? Well, pain could be, like, especially with me, I do a lot of video stuff. Like, I don't want to look like I have a lame background, right? I don't want it to look unprofessional. I don't want it to, whatever the case may be. So, like, you match those up. And so you can literally look at that. The benefit of your benefit, you probably have many of them, pleasures and pain, and now you have a narrative. Now you have a story that you can tell. And think about it, that's not what most of your ads look like. That's not what most of your blogs look like. That's not what so anything that you're doing to tell your story, anything you're doing from a marketing perspective, does it contain that thread of the benefit, the pleasure, and the pain point, connect those across. So use this kind of template, fill that out. Man, you'll have content forever doing that. Next thing I want you to think about as you're going through that process, like I mentioned here, like you may not see the best fits all the time, or you may have some that connect. But let me ask you this. Could you increase the value, or could you increase your understanding of the need, right? How could you make it bigger? So one thing that's nice about going through this process is if you really figure out what your core customers, what they're really wanting and what they're trying to avoid, how could you make your product even more valuable? Right? Because that's the thing is, like, your products, you have a potential of value. There's a potential value that your product service has. The more that you know the people that you're serving, and the more that you understand their pains, and the more that you understand what they're looking for, you get to expand. One, it could be that you're just not doing a good job of communicating the value that you have to resonate with them. But what if you could change it? So I'll give you an example for us. When we first started launching our kind of automation systems, we were doing a lot of coaching clients to do it. So like, hey, here's the software, here's the stuff, like go do it. We'll do a little of this. And what we realized was one of the biggest pains that business owners have is they're like, I'm so busy, I don't have time to do this. I want you to do it for us. So we figured out how to create kind of this white glove 360 approach to go and implement it fully. So we're drawing our customers in, we're doing it in the most effective way, we're launching it 4 to 6 weeks. So we found that sweet spot of actually being able to add more value. And what is it? If it adds more value, obviously they're happier. Yeah, our cost goes up, but the more perceived value, they're even happier now. So I could sell something that was, 30% of what we are now, and they were dissatisfied. We sell it something that's much more expensive now, but the customer's getting so much more value, and we're launching it so quicker. They're seeing revenue, they're seeing impact, they're seeing everything quicker. Well, they're even more satisfied. That's a win-win. When we get to provide more value, we get to do what we do best. The customer sees more value. That is enlarging the value and need continuum. So you go through that by knowing the value and the need that your customers have. Okay. So here's a few questions for you to see how you could increase the value that you provide, right? So first question is, how could your product service be more valuable? What things could you add on to it, right? Oftentimes it's the little accessories, right? Could you provide white glove implementation? Could you make it easier to implement? Could you add other tools and stuff? Sometimes this is where collaborations come in, right? Where you can actually have other companies or other tools, other products come along and create a greater package. So that's the funny thing too, like with service businesses, oftentimes the business will sell like, oh, I have a service. I sell SEO, or I sell a photo shoot or whatever. It's like a single siloed product. But if you actually wrap it in more things, right? Like I don't just take pictures of someone. We do printing and we create these books and we do this thing in this digital format, and there's a website where you can go and look at the photo. You start adding on this thing. Now all of a sudden you're not just selling like a shoot, you're selling like an experience. So people's like, wow, nobody else is doing that, and I feel so taken care of, and I'm getting this super white glove thing. And obviously you can charge more because you're providing more value. People want it more. It's more valuable. It's a win-win. They're more satisfied. You get more revenue. That's a win-win. So what could you do? What could you do to increase the value of your products and services? Next question. How could you help someone better understand the value? So sometimes you've got tons of value, but you're not doing a good job of helping people understand or even extract the value. So I always use the analogy in this of like a phone, right? So like I've got this iPhone. This phone's value is actually, so it's actually not based on its design, who made it. It's actually based on my ability to extract the value. All right, so I've always used the analogy. If I use this as a coaster, terrible use of a $1,500 iPhone. If I throw it as a frisbee on the front lawn with my son, terrible use. The value that I perceive or I extract out of it is based on my ability to use this thing according to its design. So both in when somebody acquires a product or even beforehand when we're telling the story, the reason we want to tell really good stories about this kind of need and value continuum is it helps people better understand the value that you have to offer. So how could you do that? And of course, this is why we did all the workshop, the benefit, and so on. But how could you go to a greater length to get them to understand it? Do you need to make a video demonstration? Do you need to take better pictures? Do you like whatever? What could you do to help people really grasp it? All right, this is where testimonies, demonstrations come really big. If somebody's benefited from what you do, having them tell the story or seeing the results, case studies, things like this, it helps people really better understand this value. Okay. Last question. How could you be more valuable without delivering your product or service? Think about before and after. So kind of the analogy here, right? Like what if we sent an email every day for the first 7 days after you bought an iPhone showing me how to use all these different new features? Well, once I start using the features, I'm obviously going to think it's more valuable. I'm going to be more satisfied. I'm going to have more of my problem solved, and I'm going to be more satisfied with my purchase. But even beforehand, really, that's the essence of great content marketing, is serving people and being valuable with content and communications prior to them even buying it. And what does that do? That positions you as the authority, that positions you as the thought leader, that positions you as the person who can tangibly solve their products. That increases the likelihood that they buy your service, they buy your product, they do your stuff. So that is our Value and Need workshop. So obviously we flew through this. We tried to do this in less than an hour. These workshops can easily be multi-day workshops. So I wanted to give you kind of highlights and a snapshot of some of the things. Go back through the video, look at the charts, really dig in on your unique value you provide to the world, the people who need it most. How can you better understand the needs and the wants of your best customers? Push in on that and never stop. Always learn, always getting feedback, always trying to increase your value. And I think you'll see some fantastic results in your business. So that's all I got for today. We will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time for another Intent Company Live. This is Billy Robbins. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.